In this video, we're going to be replacing those old funky slider doors with a nice new roll-up door. There's going to be several steps to this process. The first one being I need to clear all that brush out in front of the doors. There's an old M37 fire truck inside the barn that needs to be revived and brought out. That's going to be another thing. There's some conduit that needs to be rerouted on the ceiling that kind of interferes with the sliders for the door. Of course, there is also the install of the roll-up door. So we're just going to start chipping away at these things. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear that brush out. So let's do it. If you're not familiar with this little orange Kubota, that I'm gonna go grab a trailer with it and start loading up brush. But I've done a video on this thing, super cool little tractor. I'll put a link in the video so you guys can check that out. But we're just gonna use this as a little mule to haul brush right now. I got to do it to get the truck out. So let's get this thing started. All right, we'll dump that. Oops, that would help. All right, now you guys may or may not have seen this truck already. I think I've kind of had it in the background on a couple other videos, but this is a 1953 Dodge Power Wagon M37 fire truck. It was from the Two Rock Volunteer Fire Department out in Sonoma, West Marin. And this was my dad's midlife crisis right here. He put a lot of time and effort into this thing, and it's a really cool truck. I haven't been giving it the attention that he had, but I'm hoping that it'll still start up. But we need to make sure that it'll still start up, because if I can't get this thing started and moved out, then I'm not gonna fool with taking these doors off, because I don't want to take the doors off if I can't get the truck out and get the roll-up door installed. So it's like 7 p.m. on a Friday, and we are going to try to get this thing started. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to make this its own separate video because it probably deserves its own separate video. But either way, we got to get it started. We got to get it running. We got to get it moved out. Because the way that the roll-up door gets installed is you build it inside the barn and then kind of angle it up against the inside wall and then screw it in. At least that's what I think. So let's jump into getting this thing started, hopefully. One of the things that my dad never did to this truck was he never pulled the fuel tank and got the fuel tank boiled out and cleaned and lined. So for as long as I remember, and ever since he's been working on it, he's run it off of this marine tank. So I'm pretty sure the marine tank's out of gas. I got some fuel here. We'll put some fuel in it. Hopefully these batteries are still good. I bought those batteries about a year ago, so they're pretty much brand new, never been used batteries. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't still hold their charge, because there is a big battery disconnect underneath the seat right there. So we're just going to start with the easy things and try putting some gas in this thing and then see if it'll turn over. So that's the first step. I can hear fuel getting into the carburetor. Now, as you guys will see, there is a lot of levers and knobs and fun things to play with in here. So I'm gonna try to do my best to remember how to start this thing. Now we gotta turn the batteries on here. And then there's, I think this is ignition. And there's this thing, which I don't even know what this is, but it'll make a bunch of noise. And we got a choke here, we'll choke it. There is no key in this thing, as you guys will notice. So I'll wait for that to stop. Okay, maybe it's not gonna stop. So I'll turn that back off for now. Basically what I wanted to show you is, since there's no key to like turn over, get the starter going, you actually use this thing right here. This is the starter right here. So let's do this all again and see if it'll go. Okay, no life. Let's try. This is a manual throttle here, so if you saw I was pumping the pedal with my heel, this shouldn't make a difference, but it might. I don't know. All right, we'll try it again. Try it without the choke. Oh. stinks like a good old truck. So when I originally had problems with the door in here, the door on this side, on the right-hand side looking outward, it just straight up fell off. So I kind of just screwed it back together to keep the door up. So this side's gonna be real easy to get off. I don't know about that side. The RCV. I can't wait to take it out and drive it. It's been a long time since I've driven it. It's the next morning. I decided to not fool with this anymore last night, but let's go ahead and get this thing started and get it pulled out. Look at all this room for activities now. Now there's several things that we got to address before we actually get to the door install, and I can see maybe 3 of them off the top of my head. The first thing is that I got to clear all this crap out because that door is going to have to pivot up there, so anything in the way of these door jambs needs to be moved. So there's a high lift and a bunch of fluorescent bulbs, broken bulbs. I'm gonna need to take this little master lock thing off. I'm gonna need to take these spools of wire off. And the thing that I'm really not quite sure what I'm gonna do about yet is this conduit. This conduit comes kind of right down into this box where these sliders are gonna be mounted. So I'll start chipping away at things and we will solve the problems as we find them. All the easy stuff is done. Now we got to figure out how we're going to move this. I talked to my neighbor about it, and what he said is just take the conduit straps off and then just kind of move them over, which probably is the easiest thing to do. When I had initially looked at it, I was thinking maybe I could get a pipe bender up there and just put a little tiny bend in it, just enough so that this would be set over about here, and then I could mount another 4x6 in here to mount this on. But I don't know yet. Okay, the other thing that I noticed, if we go with the instructions that came with the door, which we should, this wood storage here is going to, if you imagine an arc door going up, I think this right here is going to interfere with the door going up, which means that I'm going to have to move all this wood. Well, at least I got started relatively early this morning. So I think that this strategy actually might work. I mean, of course it's just pivoting off of that strap up there, but I think once I take that strap off and that strap off, I'll just be able to shift these over a little bit, and it'll bend at that junction box enough for me to get clearance here. I'll tune you guys back in once I get everything remounted. You guys can see what it looks like. This is what it looks like. I mean, it looks the same as it did before, but scooting the conduit over definitely was the key. According to the manual, you need 3.5 inches from the edge of the opening here, the rough opening, which I have with the conduit there, and then the gap next to the box here is just about perfect for this rail. And I know this is the wrong side, but as you can see, there's an extra inch there if we need it. But that's kind of the last big hurdle before actually jumping into the door install itself. Now, when I ordered the door, they sent me rails, these rails, just a factory 8-foot height. And this door isn't quite 8 feet high, so I'm gonna have to cut some of it off the bottom to make it fit properly. But we're well on our way to getting this thing done, I think, which is exciting, because it was my utmost fear that I was gonna get halfway into this project and then not be able to get the door in. I guess I should do one of these right here. That thing is still in question if we're gonna need to move it. I think we are, unfortunately. And also some of these, like this is sticking out a little bit. I don't know, I might grind that down or something, I'm not sure yet. Sticking out on this side too a little bit, you see that? So at some point I'm gonna get my neighbors over here to help me actually hoist the door up once I figure out all of these little items. And at that point I'll probably just turn my GoPro on and stick it in the corner of the barn, and I won't be talking to the camera much, just because when we're working, we're gonna be working. So yeah, that's where we're at now.
I'm not quite sure which way this thing goes.
A thing for this thing.
Awards. So once you get it up there, it does help hold it up. Yes.
I feel like I'm hitting on something.
Yeah, you're hitting on the
header. I see
hang on,
it.
hang on.
Oh, it's just heavy.
Alright. Let's will it just stay by itself? I'm holding it.
All right.
Alright, it's
I wouldn't let it go though.
but it's supporting itself right now.
You know what? It looks like it's got. There you go. Just make it pretty. I'll go get my drill.
Okay, so the bottom thing is here. We just gotta spin it.
That way twice.
Yep. One,
Oh, it's getting tighter.
two.
Like, you just come down.
Hey.
No freaking way. Man, does that look good from out here?
That fucking seems like it worked pretty good.
Hey, that is sweet, dude.
I can see it.
But how does it feel when you're going up?
Good.
Oh, you have to. Seems like I'm a couple. I think I'm
The last couple hours have kind of gone at a whirlwind pace, but we got it in. It does what it's supposed to do. I mean, I'm super stoked. It's way better than those slider doors I had before. And let me show you what it looks like from the outside too. All in all, it was actually not that hard with two people. We had some issues kind of getting it positioned in the correct spot, left to right. I actually had issues with the bottom corner of the door here popping out of the rail, so I snugged the rails in a little bit more. The last thing that I got to do is, since I trimmed 2 inches of the rails off with the angle grinder, the slot for the lock is in the wrong place. So, and the mosquitoes are coming out. So this slot needs to be about 2 inches higher up in order for me to be able to lock the door. So what I'm going to try first is I'm going to try using this grinder with a kind of a thick grinding wheel and see if I can just grind a little slot in the rail. I didn't want to use the grinder because I didn't want sparks in the barn, but I think that drilling it and filing it is just going to be too much of a pain. So I'll set you guys up and you can watch me try to do this. You can see it's baking the galvanizing off, I think is what's happening. But I'm just gonna take a little center punch and kind of try to punch it out now. So there we go. Here's the tab from the lock and that slot I cut. I just hogged it out with the drill bit here. But yeah, other than that, I think that I'm gonna call this video here. We've accomplished the mission. The barn has a roll-up door now. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support, and hope you tune in next time. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I got a lot of work up here, so stay tuned.